Hello everyone, back again with us. Welcome to Moto Stylish Channel. Today we will introduce the 2022 Kawasaki KLR650. The legendary dual sport motorcycle from Kawasaki is finally back with a variety of new improvements. Various updates have been inserted by Kawasaki, both in the volume of the fuel tank, which is larger so that it is ready to increase mileage, improved performance thanks to the revised intake exhaust cam profile, as well as stronger cam chain guides. Many loyal fans of the KLR series crave Kawasaki's parallel twin adventurer motorcycle, and there are also those who think that the new Kawasaki motorcycle will be a replacement for the KLX750 Dual Sport equipped with more modern equipment. And it turns out that speculation and wishful thinking were true. Kawasaki will release the KLR650, and it will present exactly the same as its predecessor. Kawasaki had a tough job. The KLR650 had been around, relatively unchanged, since 1984. Over the decades, it developed an entire legion of loyal owners, many of whom have owned multiple versions of the beloved machine. My first ride on a motorcycle was on the back of my Uncle Bob's 1984 KLR600. By continuing to use the 5-speed gearbox, Kawasaki also provides improvements to make shifting operations feel smoother. In addition, there is also a new multifunction LCD digital instrument panel ready to display various information, as well as a USB power port and grip heater as factory accessories. Kawasaki is playing conservatively when it comes to updating new motorcycles and relying on the iconic status of this popular motorcycle to be able to stand out in the increasingly crowded middle capacity and dual sport adventure motorcycle segment. The manufacturer that is synonymous with the green color takes the same steps as Yamaha, which launched the Tenere, an affordable bike with good performance and systems, also electricity that is not too overwhelming. Engineers had to walk a fine line of tackling updates to address criticism of the old model while staying true to the legacy of their own creation. At the end of the day, some things changed while others stayed the same. Kawasaki created a bike that will still be familiar to KLR650 stalwarts, while simultaneously differentiating itself from the models which came before. Quoting from ADV Pulse, there are many parts that have been updated to improve long-distance travel capabilities, including a longer wheelbase and front-end geometry for increased stability on the road, as well as tuned ergonomics for increased comfort, increased generator capacity, and more. When you want to create a new generation of one of the most renowned motorcycles for its durability and versatility, you don't want to tinker with its basic composition too much, do you? So if the KLR650 suddenly went super high-tech, it would feel like it wasn't the KLR650. What's new? The addition of a 10-hole fine atomizing fuel injector also means a new throttle body, ECI, and fuel pump for the KLR. A new fuel pump means a revised fuel tank. Kawasaki informed us that while the previous generation KLR could run out of gas with up to half a gallon of fuel remaining, the new 6.1-gallon tank can now fully utilize its entire payload, aside from 1/10 of a gallon. The new Kawasaki KLR650 has increased braking power from the larger front discs, while the thicker rear discs. For the first time, the KLR also comes in an ABS option. In addition, for 2022, the KLR650 will also have two new special editions, namely Traveler and Adventure. In terms of design, Kawasaki paired ZH2 LED headlights to this KLR650. The semi-fairing looks more modern with sharp surfaces and corners, giving it a more athletic impression. The turn signal is placed higher in the fairing and deeper in order to reduce the risk of damage or fracture due to impact. The windshield is now 2 inches taller and can be raised a few more inches for increased riding comfort. The mirror handles are also made higher to provide better visibility. An O2 sensor provides feedback to the closed-loop fuel injection system. combined with a honeycomb catalyzer that allows the new KLR650 to produce cleaner emissions and meet environmental requirements. Kawasaki also claims increased fuel efficiency. The engine receives new intake and exhaust camshaft profiles, along with a reduced exhaust pipe diameter, 35 mm, down from 42.7 mm, which are aimed at improving mid-range power. It also gets a stronger cam chain guide with a revised shape that is designed to improve reliability. This is not to be confused with the notorious KLR650 doohickey, which is internet speak for the balancer chain adjuster lever. When asked about that particular piece, representatives from Kawasaki said that there were no changes from the previous redesign. They added that in spite of what information might exist on the internet, there were insufficient warranty claims to warrant improvements. The clutch release bearing has been updated from ball bearings to needle bearings, and the transmission gets revised third gear dogs and shift fork along with shaved finishing on fourth and fifth gears. With these changes, Kawasaki claims increased reliability from the transmission. The KLR650 gets an all-new chassis for improved stability on the street. Whereas the previous generation KLR featured a bolt-on subframe, the new frame is now a one-piece design, which improves rigidity. The rake has been increased to 30 degrees and trailed to 4.7 inches, previously 28 degrees and 4.4 inches, and a new swing arm is 30 mm, 1.2 inches long and features a 17 mm diameter swing arm pivot shaft, previously 15 mm. In addition, the axle diameter was increased to 20 mm at the rear wheel and 17 mm at the front, previously 17 mm and 15 mm respectively. According to Kawasaki, all of this contributes to the improved stability and reliability of the new model. In an effort to improve the bike's overall comfort, the handlebar and foot pegs are now rubber mounted. Rubber dampers were also added under the seat. The seat itself was redesigned with a new shape, cover material, and urethane to create a thicker, firmer, and ultimately more comfortable saddle. It also gets a two-position windscreen that's 50 mm, 2 inches, taller than the previous version. The handlebar is wider and the foot pegs are set about 10 mm further out from the bike. Kawasaki claims a 34.3-inch seat height, but it feels a lot lower and more manageable than that. I know I'm a taller rider, but both of my feet can firmly reach the ground with a decent bend in my knee. If needed, however, a low seat is available. A new generator was added with 26 amps of output, up from 17.5 amps. After powering the LED lights and everything else, an extra 80 watts are available to run accessories like heated gear. Kawasaki mounted accessory USB and cigarette-style charging ports neatly in the dash. A new sealed, maintenance-free battery is lighter and smaller than the predecessor's battery. Wheels and brakes. The new KLR comes with Bosch ABS as a $400 option in the US and is standard in countries where it is required. ABS cannot be adjusted or disabled but features less sensitive intervention timing, so as not to engage too quickly under decreased traction in the dirt. The front brake is now mated to a 20 mm larger diameter 300 mm disc, and there is a 1 mm thicker disc out back for improved heat dissipation. The 21-inch front and 17-inch rear wheels were beefed up with stronger materials and larger diameter axles for improved rigidity, durability, and stability. Both ends still run tubes in the stock Dunlop K750S, 90/90-21 up front and 130/80-17 out back. The bike felt more planted overall, but the tires were not confidence-inspiring. Ergonomics and styling. New bodywork includes a 50 mm taller, two-position adjustable windshield, which we found to be more than adequate in its lower position, negating any need to raise it another 30 mm. There's also a new half-inch bar above the dash and behind the shield for easy accessory mounting. A more squat fuel tank shape not only tucks nicely around the legs, but also allows a full 6 gallons of fuel to be used. The handlebar and foot peg lengths were extended 10 millimeters, providing a touch more room to move, as well as more steering leverage. While the handlebar, foot pegs, and seat are all rubber mounted, they failed to reduce the ample vibration from the big single in any meaningful way, but do work well in a standing position. New colorways cover a new armored shroud, side cover, and tail cowl. There's even a plastic bash plate underneath and brush guards for your digits. All of this defense is tested effective and, when combined with the engine guards, should make the KLR even more damage resistant. The seat shape was narrowed and optimized for thickness and firmness to improve comfort and make it easier to drop legs to the ground. We were able to flatfoot with a 32-inch inseam and found the seat handled a 250-mile day fairly well. The pillion seat is adequate as well and features reshaped grab bars, which is supposed to make them easier to hold on to, according to Team Green. The new 30mm shorter side stand was easy to deploy and provided ample footing that doesn't sink in soft soil swiftly. The new LED headlight is welcomed and reduces power consumption, but why LED wasn't extended to the revised taillight or blinkers is a mystery. Mirror arms were extended slightly, and the round mirrors worked well, without distracting. The battery was changed to a sealed 8Ah unit, which is smaller, lighter, and requires less maintenance, but puts out 7Ah less power than the former model. A new AC generator outputs 26A, up from 17.5A, with a total capacity of 80 W to power all those accessories that ADV riders love, like heated grips and clothing, navigational aids, and auxiliary lighting. Or simply recharging your phone. Gone are the analog speedometer and tachometer. In their place is a neat and compact LCD dash that provides the rider with a clear speed indicator, fuel gauge, and trip/odometer readout. There is no tachometer on the new model. The suspension was revised with improved damping settings to improve the feel. A larger 300mm brake rotor was fitted to the front wheel. The previous rotor was 280mm to improve stopping power, and the 240mm rotor at the rear wheel was thickened by 1mm to help with heat dissipation. With ABS, the KLR650 is $6,999 in sand, Traveler is $7,399 in orange, and Adventure is $7,999 in camo USD. Add $530 for delivery and subtract $400 if available and optioned without ABS. If you don't like the pre-configured colorways, options include heated grips, $200, reduced reach seat, $300, USB port, $95, DC port, $96, LED auxiliary lights, $400, engine guards, $250, tank pad, $60, knee pads, $90, 21L side cases, $430, and 43L top case, $210. Add all of the options to a base model for about $2,000, or simply choose the Adventure and completely deck it out for another $500, unless you need the shorty seat. Kawasaki marketing exclaims, escape, explore, envy. The 2022 KLR650 is indeed a capable steed that can take a rider nearly anywhere they want to go. However, it never feels fast. Rather, it has primitive traction control. Roll the throttle wide open and always receive linear acceleration. It can exceed 90 miles per hour in top gear, wide open, downhill, with a tailwind, but trying to pass on a 2-lane highway at 75 miles per hour is a chore. It will grind over slow uphill climbs in first, and in second will lug along happily over almost anything. The suspension is tolerable but minimally adjustable. It still looks straight out of 2008, which is likely why it's so affordable, but most of the aftermarket Farkles from the last 35 years likely won't bolt on directly.